Welcome to another episode of the Maryland Made Podcast. The Maryland Made Podcast provides timely, relevant, and practical information to empower student athletes to explore their potential and pursue their passions. Joining me today are two special guests. We have Sanya Glauber of the Terps Women's Gymnastics program and Brett Makar of the Men's Lacrosse program. Sanya and Brett, how are y'all doing this morning?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, Walt. Thanks for having us.
No doubt. I'm doing well. Excited. It's Thursday, so almost at the end of the week. My birthday is in May, so May is quickly approaching. I know y'all are graduating soon, so May is quickly approaching for y'all. So excited to have both of y'all join me today as a senior send-off type of episode. We have two senior student athletes here that have been at Maryland, doing great things on the field, on the mat, but also in the classroom, also in the community. So excited to dive into this conversation with Sanya and Brett. And before we get into what they've done in their Maryland career as student athletes, I'll ask y'all, a question about what were y'all up to kind of before Maryland. So Sanya, I'll start with you. Tell me a little bit about your upbringing and your hometown and some things like that. And how has your childhood shaped you into the person you are today?
So I'm originally from Syracuse, New York. I grew up in a small town called Jamesville. In Syracuse, I have two older siblings, so definitely the youngest by a decent amount of years. But I've actually moved around a lot. So in 7th grade, I moved to Southern California, which is kind of ultimately where I got recruited and started taking gymnastics seriously. In California, gymnastics is also much more of a big deal than in New York. So the club gyms are much better in California than they are in New York. So it's definitely a big climate change for me. But ultimately, I think moving kind of is what got me to be able to be a D1 athlete. I essentially was looking more at West Coast schools before I was looking at like Big Ten schools, just because of where I was in California. But my parents told me that they were moving to North Carolina once I graduated high school. So I kind of flipped the switch and decided to go more East Coast. I ended up taking an official here at Maryland right before my senior year, and kind of just fell in love with the program. The coaches were super nice, very family oriented here, and kind of just found my home. So yeah.
Nice. Glad you made the trip all the way from the West Coast up to the DMV. But appreciate you for sharing that. And Brett, what about you, man?
Yeah, so similar to Sanya, I grew up in New York, small town, Yorktown, and that's where I was born and raised, spent my whole childhood there and high school years as well, and definitely shaped me into the person I am today. Big lacrosse community in Yorktown, so kind of fell in love with the game as a young kid, and I think I first picked up a stick in 2nd grade and then kind of just went from there. But definitely my older brother, Tyler, had the biggest impact on me in terms of lacrosse. I'm one of 4 boys. So I'm the third of 4. And my dad played lacrosse in high school, and my brother, Tyler, was a huge influence on me in terms of lacrosse. But Yorktown was a great community, very tight-knit community, and they loved their sports programs. So just being in high school, I knew from a young age it meant a lot being a student athlete, and that kind of led me to Maryland and helped me get recruited and end up being a Terp. So really happy for all the opportunities I had, and grateful for the experience to be able to be at Maryland now.
Gotcha, man. Appreciate that. And are you a Brett Favre Jets fan, or like how did you become a Brett Favre?
So I'm a huge Brett Favre, huge Packers fan.
Okay.
I'm actually named after Brett Favre. So my father Keith's a huge Packers fan, lifelong Packers fan. I know. So being one of 4 boys, he couldn't win my mom over on the first 2, but the third one, being the third child, he was able to win her over and name me after Brett Favre. So always been a big Brett Favre fan, and kind of try to model the way I play a little bit after him, and kind of in terms of taking risks and trying to make the big play. So
I got you. I like that a lot. And both of y'all mentioned, y'all been playing, sports, your sport for a while. Brett talking about, where you're from. It's kind of, a lacrosse town, having brothers that play at lacrosse. And then Sanya, you moved around and kind of excelled in gymnastics out in California. But when did y'all first start playing the sport? And then when did you know that you could be a collegiate student athlete? And Sanya, I'll start with you.
So I was actually kind of a late bloomer to gymnastics. I think a lot of people, the normal answer is like 3 to 5 when you hear gymnasts talk about when they started, but I didn't really start like competitively till I was like 6 or 7. Um, and again, once I moved, it kind of took off. So I think once I was in like 7th grade, I think that's kind of when my my flip switch to like taking practices a little more seriously. And then kind of once you hit the freshman year, I think that's when everything starts to get pretty real. Um, and you start to really think about where you want to go and if anyone's interested. I think especially in sport of gymnastics, um, they've changed some rules now, but before you could get recruited like really early on. So I mean, from like freshman year, you could start getting calls and stuff and emails from coaches. So um, I think that's kind of when I started taking it more seriously and when I realized like I could kind of do something with this. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, you say 6, 7. That's pretty late, but I guess for gymnastics, people are like starting super young. But yeah, 6 to 7, I feel like that's more than enough time to like figure it out. But thanks for sharing
Yeah.
that. Brett, what about you? I know you said you started lacrosse at 12. Is that correct?
Actually, earlier. So
Okay.
I first started playing in 2nd grade, just doing like some small youth clinics, and then kind of played all through elementary school, all through middle school. But it wasn't until middle school age I kind of started to take it a little more serious. But in terms of playing in college, like never really thought about it too much. I kind of just wanted to become a good enough player and kind of develop into to being a good player, just to be able to play for my varsity team. It was such a big deal for my town, you know, to play varsity sports and be on the high school team. That was kind of just my number one goal always growing up. And it wasn't until my freshman year or so of high school where kind of realized that maybe I could play in school and play at a university like Maryland. And then kind of once I just visited Maryland, knew it was a great spot for me and would do anything it took to come here, getting to know Coach Tillman and seeing how genuine of a person he is. And I knew he would not only want me to be the best person or player I could be, but also wanted me to develop into being the best person I could be, which is really important.
Absolutely. Y'all both are out of state student athletes. And y'all both kind of touched on, kind of why you decided to come to Maryland or like, your visits to Maryland. But what was the deciding factor, deciding to be a Terp? And Sanya, I'll start with you.
Yeah, so I think a big aspect of it for me was when I was able to like visit in person, just because I think when I was recruited again, I was like 3,000 miles away. So emailing and calls and stuff were awesome, but it wasn't really didn't really give you like the full big picture. So I think my official visit was kind of when everything changed and they were able to offer me like in person, which was awesome. But just being able to like meet the team and sit in on practices and stuff and comparing that to other universities, I think being able to like see how the team acted with one another and how the coach acted with their own athletes was like huge for me. And here it was just very family oriented. Brett had his kids in the gym and his dad coached before him. So having that was like awesome for me and made me feel super at home. And yeah, just being able to like be in the environment is huge. So that was definitely like what changed my mind, I guess, and what really ultimately made my decision to come here in the end.
Gotcha. And Brett, you didn't have to travel 3,000 miles, but you did have to come down south a little bit. What was the deciding factor for you to choose Maryland?
Yeah, I mean, I think just anytime an athlete's going through the recruiting process, it's pretty normal for coaches kind of just wanting to tell you what you want to hear and kind of give you these promises and kind of try and lure you to come to their school. But at Maryland, it was different and unlike any visit that I had, in the sense that I wasn't promised anything coming here. University of Maryland and especially lacrosse program is built on a strong work ethic, being the best version of yourself you could possibly be, and having to hold yourself to a high standard. And Coach Tillman made that clear when I came to Maryland the first time, and I wanted to be a part of that so badly. So once I was able to get to know Coach Tillman, the rest of the coaching staff, and similar to Sonia say, see the way the program operates, how the guys interact with each other, really stood out to me. But mostly just the culture of Maryland and especially the lacrosse program built on working hard and nothing being given to you and having to earn everything meant a lot to me.
Absolutely. I love that, man. And speaking of that, y'all both, of course, committed to Maryland as student athletes, and y'all have been here. So what were some of those goals? I'll start with you first, Brett. Like, what were some of your goals entering into Maryland? Like, academically, of course, athletically, but also like personally and professionally. Did you have anything on your mind?
Yeah, I think just Maryland changed my perspective on a lot of things, and I think I really was able to grow up here and develop into a young adult. I think I came in kind of as a kid, and can definitely confidently say once I leave Maryland and graduate, I'm leaving an adult that has learned a lot, had a lot of experiences, learned what adversity is, ups and downs, and definitely has shaped me into the person I am today. But I think just coming into Maryland, I wanted to be someone that obviously graduated, did well academically, had a good GPA, and just made my parents proud. I mean, I know both my parents weren't able to go to four-year universities. My mom went to college, but locally, and then my father didn't go to college, learned a trade and started his own business as an electrician when he was young. So I just know it meant a lot for that to them to be able to provide me with this kind of opportunity, and I just didn't want to make them proud. That was my biggest goal was to make my parents proud. I know how much they sacrificed for me to be in this position today, and just wanted to take advantage of every opportunity I was given in coming to Maryland. And then just as a lacrosse player, kind of just trying to be the best version of myself as well. I really kind of just put my head down and work. Once I came to Maryland, I saw how talented everybody was on the team was, and how much work it was going to take for me to be able to develop into a good player and have a role on the team. So kind of just put my head down and work. That's kind of been my story and what's led me to be the person I am right now.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that, man. And it seemed like you have been meeting most of your goals that you set out for yourself, being able to like play as a freshman, but also I'm not only exceeding on the field, being an All-American, being all conference, but also being all academic Big Ten as well, and setting that example, but really showing what it means to be a student athlete, man. So thanks for sharing that. It seems like you were focused the moment you stepped on to the field.
Yeah.
Sanya, what about you? What were some of your goals heading into Maryland?
Yeah, I think similar to Brett, I think coming in, obviously playing these sports in high school, your parents dedicate so much time and effort into, getting you to practices and all that stuff when you're in high school, that I think being able to be a D1 athlete and just like, again, make your parents proud is huge for a lot of people. So similar for me, but again, coming in and wanting to, graduate in 4 years from a credible institution and keep a good GPA was also huge for me. Academics is like super important to my mom and dad, so they instilled that for me when I was little. So that was a huge goal of mine, just to make sure that I keep up with that and stay on top of that. My parents always said, school comes first. And even in the gym, we have on our whiteboard, it says like school, gymnastics, everything else underneath. So that always comes first. But I think also just kind of like Brett said, you come in, you're young, but college for anyone, athlete or not, is like a huge growing and learning experience. So I think taking that in and really trying to be the best person I can be, learn from my mistakes as the years go on, and really just figure out who I am. And I think leaving in this next month or so, I can confidently say that I have found my person, and am proud of everything that I've accomplished, and just wanting to engage in everything that athletics offers. So like even just everything Maryland Made offers, to being able to participate in all those opportunities and be more than a student athlete was huge for me too. So
no doubt. And you compete in gymnastics, of course, and about to graduate soon, looking to go into law school, but also being a leader for SAC for multiple years. I'm glad that I got to be a part of SAC this year for your last year, but definitely enjoyed your leadership, and excited about your future as you move on from Maryland. And so you were kind of talking about that, like how big it was to be kind of more than an athlete and kind of like find yourself, and like being a student athlete is a lot, right? You have your academics, of course, but you also have that component of being an athlete. But then also, like, it's college, right? You have to have some type of social life as well. But y'all also were impacted by COVID-19 in your college experience. I feel like y'all as seniors y'all actually had some type of normalcy, I would say, like maybe y'all first year, but after that, it's been wild. So kind of how are y'all able to balance everything? So one being a student, one being an athlete, but also just being a college student, and then even once COVID impacted your experience, how are y'all able to balance and maintain who you are, who's Sanya and like who's Brett? And Brett, I'll start with you for this question.
Yeah, I think just the biggest thing for me through all that was kind of just control what you can control. You know, there's so many outer circumstances that I didn't have any power or control over. So all I could focus on was continue to try and do well in school, even though adjusting to online was definitely tough and presented its challenges for me. And then obviously trying to be an athlete and make sure I was able to stay in shape and stay playing at a high level was really hard to do, but definitely taught me a lot about myself. And like I said, that's just a part of the experience in terms of dealing with adversity and having to overcome challenges. And I think kind of just after what I've been through at Maryland, my 4 years here, it's presented me with a lot of those challenges and obstacles I've had to overcome. And I feel confident going into the real world that I'll be able to tackle anything in my way just because of having to deal with those obstacles like COVID and many other things as well. So.
Sonia, how about you? How are you able to kind of maintain that balance with so much on your plate and so much going on?
Yeah, I think obviously pre-COVID, just time management skills are super, super important being an athlete. Coming in as a freshman, I think my busiest year honestly was freshman year just because of study hall hours and having tutors and stuff, which those slowly go away, I think, as you become an upperclassman. So I mean, my day was definitely like wake up, go to class till about noon, go to practice till about 4, go to lift till 5, and then study hall or tutoring till like 6 or 7. So just being able to like have that order, I think was huge for me. And each year finding my new routine really helped me. And the resources that athletics provides were also super helpful too, just with our counselors and advisors and everything. But I think when COVID hit again, like Brett was saying, I think it's just super important to take everything day by day. That was basically what our coaches said, because I mean, things would change with like a blink of an eye within 24 hours. So I think, again, like he said, controlling what you can control was huge, because there was literally nothing we could do about any of the circumstances happening in front of us. So after being sent home, I mean, it was just team meeting after team meeting on Zoom, and really just taking what anyone could give us was kind of just all we had. And yeah, that was kind of all we could do, I think, in that moment. But coming back last year definitely was another big change with online school and stuff. And again, finding that routine was huge for me. But I mean, I think we were all happy that we were able to play our sports and participate last year. So yeah.
Absolutely. And one day at a time, I feel like I definitely picked that up too. I feel like in athletics, being in athletics my whole life, playing, and then also like being a coach, I feel like we always typically try to plan stuff out and have like a set plan, but like COVID changed everything. And like you said, like we didn't know like what will happen, and with the whole testing protocol, it was just all over the place. But yeah, we're still, moving forward and still trying to adjust to the new normal. But thanks for both of y'all for sharing that. And the next question I have is for y'all, like, we'll have some younger student athletes listen to this, of course, and some may be kind of undecided on their major and like minor and where they see their careers going. But Brett, I'll start with you first. What ultimately led to you choosing your major, and kind of when did you figure that out?
Yeah, so I think just the biggest thing that I've learned, and I mean, even when I kind of chose my major, I still didn't have an exact idea about what I wanted to do in terms of a career or specialize in going forward. But I kind of just decided my major because I knew it was a broad terms of study. Just going into communications, I knew there was going to be so many different avenues I would be able to go down once I kind of chose that major. And then ultimately, once I kind of started to pick up an idea of what exactly I wanted to do, I decided to do the business minor as well. So kind of was able to get some business experience and business background while also taking some pretty useful communications classes and going down the PR track, learning how to kind of develop my writing skills, which is something I've always been passionate about. And so, yeah, that's always been something that was really important to me was writing, and something I've always enjoyed. So that major was perfect for me in that sense. And then also, like I said, being able to do the business minor, getting some business background and experience there. But I would definitely say for any freshman or student athlete coming in, don't feel pressure to have to pick your major right away. That's what I think one of the greatest things about college is getting to feel a lot of things out and experience a lot of different things, take a lot of different courses, and kind of narrow down your options or narrow down what you want to do through that. So I wouldn't say, don't freak out or overwhelm yourself with having to pick a major right away, because that's one of the beauties of it is learning as you go.
Wise words for sure, man. I'm also got my bachelor's degree in communication, so definitely, understand you from that point, and kind of a broad major and using some of your skills that you feel like could kind of correlate with that. But thanks for sharing that. Sanya, what about you? Why crim? And when did you decide that?
Yeah, so I was actually undecided for the first 2 years of college. So anyone listening that thinks they have to choose immediately, you definitely don't. I actually really kind of enjoyed being undecided, just because I'm a career major now, and I took biology, economics, everything under the sun, and I definitely learned what I did not like, which I'm like super grateful for, because it kind of made me realize my strengths as like a pre-law student, and like made me realize almost what I wanted to do taking those classes that I hated. So I think by the time you have to declare after your sophomore year, I believe, like summer going into your junior year, you have to have a major. So I knew it was coming down the pike. And before coming to college, I had kind of known I wanted to go to law school, but it wasn't like a set thing in my mind. It was kind of just there. And then again, after taking those courses, I kind of realized that some sort of legal major was what I wanted to do. And I had taken a crim class my freshman year, and it was like my favorite class that I had taken out of my freshman sophomore year. So when it came to decide, my mom was really just like, what was your favorite class you took? And that was kind of honestly like what made me make my decision. And then my junior year, I decided to enroll in like the Law and Society program, which is also a minor. And honestly, I think that was like a huge part of what helped me get into some law programs, and was super influential on just like my resume and stuff. It really helps. So yeah.
Okay. So yeah, different times for our younger student athletes listening, like y'all have time for sure. And again, try things, and it may be even more beneficial to understand what you definitely don't like and don't see yourself doing. So great advice there. And speaking of that, I think Law and Society, but kind of hearing you getting involved with that minor, but also know that you're involved with SAC. But like, what are some of those things outside of like the classroom and off off the mat that you're involved with and that have helped you in your college experience?
I think out of the gym, obviously taking just like leadership roles was like super beneficial for me. Kind of made me had like another group of friends, which is super nice, just because I love my teammates, but we see each other 24/7. So kind of being able to have a different support system was super nice, and just like a change of pace rather than like going to practice, going to class, going home, going to practice, going to class, going home. So yeah, just being involved in SAC, just being on exec board the past 2 years, and just a normal team rep my sophomore year was super eye-opening, and really honestly allowed me to like broaden my horizons and like add different personality traits for me. I feel like I really learned how to be a leader. And then also just doing internship academy, I was able to intern last summer, which was super helpful. Just kind of helped me build my resume. And yeah, so I think all those things kind of not only were like good experiences for me out of the gym, because I've been in the gym my whole life, but also kind of helped me shape my personality and gain some new characteristics and stuff throughout college. So yeah.
Absolutely. Brett, what about you? Are there any programs or any like groups that you were involved with, like outside of the lacrosse team and outside of the classroom, that helped you in your college experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think just a large part of what our team does that I think is really special too is just all the community service and stuff we're involved in. I mean, when I first got to Maryland, our team was super involved with Team Impact, and we had our teammate Finn, who was awesome and an inspiration for us. And then this past fall, getting to be the team leader and for the Headstrong fundraiser we do every fall, where we grow out our mustaches and raise money for childhood cancer and for families that are dealing with cancer and that are affecting them. And then even this year, a bunch of guys participated in another fundraiser where they shaved their heads for childhood cancer, where I think it was for every guy that shaved their head, $1,000 was donated. And then even just getting to be able to use my own platform, and I donated, $500 of my NIL money this past winter to Blythedale Children's Hospital. So just being able to kind of use my platform and Maryland Lacrosse's platform to help out others, and has been really special. And I think something that stands out about our program and what we try and do, not just trying to and exemplifying that we're not just trying to be the best players we could be, but people we can as well. And then in terms of an internship, I was able to have an internship last summer using the Maryland Lacrosse Alumni Network. They were really helpful and allowed me to get an opportunity where I was working in New York City, which was really cool. So there's just so many different things that you can get involved in at a big university like Maryland, which makes it really special and the great place it is. So
I appreciate that, man. I love that the community engagement piece, man. Like that, I feel like that's so important and so impactful, and adds to that student athlete experience. And definitely like the younger students out there, and any type of young athletes coming up, but even community members, like, look at y'all as heroes, and just being able to give back and being able to, like you said, Brett, like, use your platform for that community engagement piece, but now also with this NIL element to be able to expand your brand well beyond the field and well beyond the classroom, and also well beyond Maryland. So thanks for sharing that, Brett.
no doubt.
And then my last kind of question about your time before we get into some beyond stuff, and then we'll revisit some quick hitters later. But what resources, or like who at Maryland, it's kind of like that shout out moment, like who at Maryland would you like to kind of like shout out and thank for helping you like during your time as a student athlete? Sanya, I'll start with you.
Like anyone at all?
Anyone at all.
It's hard to pick one. I would say
you can pick a few if you need.
Okay. Okay. I would say definitely shout out Tim Bryson. He's been huge with just my professional track and life after Maryland. And honestly, my PTs too have been like another support system for me after I had surgery. And we're awesome. So shout out Rob and Mike for sure.
All right. Brett, what about you?
Yeah, I got to give a big shout out to our academic advisor, Heather Ariana. She does a lot in dealing with our team and all the other teams she deals with. She's got a lot of student athletes, and there's a lot on her plate, but somehow, some way, she kind of deals with it with ease and makes it look easy. And I know firsthand it's definitely not, because you can go into her office any day and there's 5 people in there from 3 different sports teams asking her all kinds of questions. So she's been a huge help. And then, like Sanya said, huge shout out to our athletic trainer, Anthony Binyarko. Same thing. He's got 50 guys he has to deal with every day, and he does such a great job in making sure we're staying healthy and keeping us on the field. So huge shout out to Anthony and all he does for our team.
Gotcha. Appreciate that. And I'm sure I'll make sure that they tune into this and hear that shout out, but I'm sure they're all proud of y'all and everything that you've been doing. And looking at kind of beyond Maryland now, have a few questions. So Brett, I know you're still in season and got some big goals, of course, to finish this season out on top. But what do you hope to achieve personally, professionally in the near future?
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, there's definitely some big goals in mind right now that we'd like to accomplish as a team. And right now it's kind of trying to keep it in that one day at a time perspective. There's so many great teams we got lined up on our schedule going forward, with Hopkins this weekend, and then Big Ten tournament play, and hopefully NCAA tournament, going a nice little run there going forward. But in terms of the summer, trying to get another internship. I just got accepted into the master's program, the business school business management master's program for next year. So really excited about that, to use my extra year eligibility that I was granted through the NCAA from COVID to get my master's, especially to have the opportunity to do it through the Maryland Business School is really exceptional and something I'm really excited about. But yeah, so those two things, like I said, trying to get another internship hopefully this summer, and trying to keep a couple options and get that rolling. But trying to focus on hopefully finishing the season strong, and excited about being able to come back to Maryland for one more year.
Absolutely. Thanks, man. Sanya, what about you? What are some of those goals that you hope to achieve in the near future?
Yeah, I'm definitely not fifth yearing. I don't think my body could take it, that's for sure. But I think going into next year, this summer again, like Brett was saying, maybe trying to find an internship. I was interning at a law firm over winter break, actually, because that's like the most downtime we have all year, because we have to be here on campus but don't have any classes. So I was able to intern in a law firm like kind of close by, so maybe starting that up again. But law school is hopefully on the horizon. I'm actually visiting schools this weekend, so I hopefully will be able to make a decision going into next week and kind of get the ball rolling there, and hopefully start my JV next semester. So yeah.
All right, exciting stuff on the way for both of y'all. And Brett, definitely excited about the game versus Hopkins this weekend, but also hosting the Big Ten tournament. So definitely excited to be there in College Park for that. And Sanya, best of luck on your visits this weekend, and enjoy that. Big fan of the Carolinas, so I'm sure you'll have a good time down there. And kind of looking even further down the line, Sanya, I'll start with you first. I know going to law school, any particular type of law that you want to get into, but what's your ultimate kind of career goal?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think as of right now, I mean, obviously, just being an athlete my whole life, I think I would love to stay in the sports world, and maybe go into like sports and entertainment law down the line. But that could definitely change within the next 3 years. So, but right now, I feel like that's kind of where my head's at, just because I definitely like the pace of sports and the community that you're able to build just being a part of a team and a community. So if I am able to stay in this area, I'd love to. So
Okay. I love that. And then Brett, being communications, but about to go to grad school, and then also having that business minor, having some PR tied into it as well. What are some career goals that you have for yourself?
Yeah. So I had a commercial real estate internship last summer, which I really enjoyed and was really cool, and a unique experience for me, just being kind of in that business environment for the first time, something that I wasn't really around growing up, or throughout any point in my life. So being able to have that experience was definitely huge for me, and opened my eyes to a lot of things in the professional world. So but yeah, I mean, having this fifth year and being able to do that master's program, I really hope to kind of narrow down exactly it is what I want to do. And since that program I'm doing is so broad, you're involved in so many different things: marketing, finance, supply chain. There's so many different avenues you can kind of specialize in and go down after that. So kind of hope that with this extra year and going into that program, I can kind of use the great Maryland alumni network that this university has, and being a large Big Ten university, and having so many successful alums. Hopefully I can kind of pick their brains and find something that I'll enjoy going forward.
Absolutely. And the last two questions I have for y'all are fun questions, but a little tough as well. The first one that I have is like, what does success mean and like look like to you? And this could be success for anything, not just as a student athlete, but like success moving forward. And Sanya, I'll start first with you.
Oh, I mean, I think if everyone knew the answer to that, a lot of people would be successful. But I think obviously being able to provide and support myself in the future is huge. But as long as I'm happy, I think that's like the defining thing for me. I just want to make sure I'm happy doing whatever I'm doing in my life. So I think as long as I'm, in good spirits and enjoy what I'm doing, I think that counts as being successful. So
I like that.
Yeah.
Brett?
Yeah, I would say success for me, in a broader sense, it's not the action of succeeding or winning or doing well. It's just that trying, that consistent effort, getting knocked down 9 times and being able to stand up that 10th time and persevere and continue to push and try as hard as you can and kind of just work your tail off in anything you do. Like Sonia said, I want to be involved in something that motivates me, where I feel like I'm kind of involved in that team aspect, where I'm working with people who are working towards a common goal, not just trying to, increase their salary or their personal paycheck, but the work is meaningful. It can affect the world and make it a better place through what they're doing. So that's something I want to be involved in. I think that's something that I'm kind of dreading and losing, sports or moving on from athletics and being part of a team is kind of that selflessness and that working hard towards a common goal is something I'm really going to miss. So I hope I can find that in my professional life.
Absolutely, man. And that's a great way to put it, man. Finding it in your professional life, finding those communities, or also, finding that right role and that right, career that's really for you. For me, I definitely, know I struggle with that. So I kind of got right into coaching the year after I, was done playing in college. But just finding that community, finding people that, have similar goals as you and can keep you motivated. But thanks both of y'all for sharing that. And then the last thing I have for this Beyond before we get into the quick hitters are, what are some other things that you're passionate about? Like, what are those things that get you up in the morning, or what are those things that you spend some time on beyond being in the gym and beyond being on the field? Sanya, I'll start with you.
Like hobbies?
Hobbies, yep. It can be hobbies, interests, anything like that.
Oh gosh. I don't really know. I mean, I think like hobbies. I think I like to listen to music a lot. So I think like since I was young, I've really liked music. So I consider that kind of a hobby.
Yeah.
I wish I could say like I love to cook, but I suck at cooking. Yeah, that's kind of all I got.
I got you. What you got on the playlist these days?
Kind of everything. We're actually going to a country concert this weekend, like a bunch of my teammates. So right now it's kind of been a lot of country, which
Gotcha.
I know is very controversial. A lot of people like hate or love that, but
okay. Yeah, I can still use some improvement in the cooking area as well. But I've been finding some TikTok recipes and some real recipes, so improving. I'm getting there. Brett, what about you?
Yeah, I think in terms of like what excites me and gets me out of bed in the morning, definitely just like my family. I mean, they mean the most to me. That's my why. I mean, anytime I'm feeling lazy or keep hitting snooze on that alarm clock, just think of them, and that's kind of all the motivation I need. And kind of always start my morning calling my parents, talk to my mom and dad probably every morning. So that's my biggest why. And then obviously my brother's really, really close with them. So, being one of 4 boys, kind of just growing up, everything was really competitive, and those are my best friends. So definitely my family, that's my biggest motivation and my why. And anytime I can talk to them, that's where I'm most at peace. So.
Absolutely. And the final thing I have for y'all are just some final words. This is kind of to put the stamp on a senior send off. And the quick hitter questions, kind of like those first things that come to mind. And the first one I have for y'all, it's a tough one. But Sanya, I'll start with you. What was your favorite moment as a student athlete at Maryland so far?
I mean, there's been a lot of moments. I think when I was able to tie the school record on bars, that was like huge for me. I don't think I've ever felt that feeling before, like in my life. Just having like my teammates around me and having their support from my coaches too, and all our support staff too. It was like an amazing feeling to be able to accomplish that. So I'd say that's probably like my number one biggest accomplishment.
Absolutely. Had a big year this year. So definitely exciting to follow along. Brett, what about you? What was that signature moment so far during your time here at Maryland?
Yeah, I would definitely say winning the conference tournament last year at Penn State was definitely really special for me, just because everything that team went through last year in terms of, daily COVID testing and kind of bubbling up, not being able to really see our families or interact with family and friends after the games, or get to spend time with them. That was really, really hard. And I think winning the Big Ten was kind of that moment for us where we got to enjoy the fruits of our labor, everything we put in and invested into that year, and having that moment with that team was really, really special. and a culmination of the efforts and everything it took to kind of stay disciplined and grounded and motivated. And then especially just in the Big Ten, such a competitive lacrosse conference, getting to climb that mountain was really special and something I'll never forget. But I think my favorite moment is hopefully the next one. It's kind of taking that page out of Tom Brady's book where they ask him what his favorite ring is, and he says the next one. That's kind of the mentality I'm trying to have, and this team is trying to have. We're kind of worried about what's in front of us and trying to take advantage of everything that's in our way. So hopefully we continue to keep it rolling, and hopefully we can continue to reach those objectives.
Absolutely, man. I love that one. I love the next one being the best one, for sure. And next question I have is like, what's something that you learned during your time here at Maryland that you'll kind of keep with you once you leave here, Sanya?
I think the biggest thing I've learned is probably just that I have more time than I think I do to figure everything out. Because I think freshman year it was easy to kind of look at the grand scheme of things and think that, I had to pick a major by next semester. I had to have this certain GPA by the end of the semester in order to make, this scholar letter by next semester and make sure that I had my resume built up. But I think in the end, you just have to realize you have so much more time than you think you do. And a lot of people are here to help and support you. So yeah, time I think is like huge.
Absolutely. Brett?
Yeah, I think kind of just like how it learning how to deal with failure, I think was like something that was really big for me. I mean, kind of in high school, like any athlete that's playing at a Division I university, especially a school like Maryland, you were most likely in high school the best athlete on your team or the best player, and you probably did well in school, and school was easier, and whatever it may be. But kind of just like coming to Maryland, I realized really early that it's hard being a student athlete. There's days where you have practice for 3 hours, and then you have 5-page paper you got to submit at midnight, and there's long nights and early mornings, and kind of just learning how to persevere through all that. I think Maryland, for anybody that can be a student athlete here and kind of make it through 4 years here and do well, you're going to be able to do a lot of things in the real world. So kind of just learning how to deal with failure and overcoming adversity and different obstacles.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. All right. And on this one, maybe the toughest question, but just one word to describe your experience as a Terp. Sanya, I'll start with you. One word.
One word. I would say from my personal experience of the past 4 years, I would say it's probably just resilience. I think that was one of our team mottos a couple of years ago, especially during COVID. And Brett was saying with failure, that's huge too. But just being able to get back up when everything seems to be against you in the world, and being able to, handle everything that's on your plate regardless, and, getting the job done because that's just what you got to do and there's no other option. I think that's just huge. So yeah, I would say resilience.
Gotcha. Great word. Brett, how about you? What's that one word?
I would say exciting. I love Maryland and being a student athlete for so many reasons, but just because you always got to be on your toes. There's always a curveball that's going to be thrown at you, whether it's a really hard school week or a tough week of practice where things just kind of aren't going your way on the field. But it is exciting. That's the beauty of it, that there's never a dull moment. There's never a time where I'm like, oh, I'm bored or sitting around. There's always something I feel like I can do, and kind of always just feel like I can continue to push forward and try and reach my goals personally and collectively with my teammates. So definitely just exciting. Never a dull moment, and there's always something to achieve, which I love.
Absolutely. And the final question, Brett, I'll start with you, and then Sanya, I'll let you close us out here. But what's that one piece of advice that you as a senior would like to offer to all the student athletes out there?
Yeah, I think I said it before, kind of touched on it. Just don't be discouraged. Don't ever get discouraged, and don't fear failure. That's part of it. That's part of being in college. That's part of the experience of being a student athlete. It's never easy. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. Everyone you went to high school would be doing it, but you're here for a reason because you're special. You were blessed with so many talents and gifted with so many things. So don't ever be discouraged. You're here for a reason, and just stay true to yourself, and everything will fall into place and work out for you in the long run.
Well, wise words from Brett. Sanya, what are your final wise words for the student athletes out there?
Yeah, I would say, honestly, it might be super simple, but just try and enjoy your time as much as you can. Because, I mean, there's so many great people here. You get to meet so many friends that are probably going to be your lifelong friends for the rest of your life. I mean, my roommates are probably going to be in my wedding one day. It goes by in the blink of an eye. So, leaving in this next month, I think looking back and just trying to enjoy every practice you get to do, try to enjoy every time you're on that field or every time you're on the mat, and really just, take it all in and enjoy it. Love the people that are around you. Take it day by day, because it goes away really quick. So, yeah, I guess just enjoy what you're doing.
Absolutely. And both of y'all, I want to thank y'all for your time here today. Do y'all want to plug any of y'all social media or anything, or I can just put it in the episode notes, up to y'all?
I mean, if you want, you can follow me on Instagram. It's Sanya Glauber, but
Yeah, same thing. Instagram, Brett Makar 1, Twitter at Brett Makar. So,
all right. But yeah, definitely appreciated this conversation. Two seniors who are showing a great example and doing things the right way. And I'm excited for both of y'all to continue y'all careers. Sanya beyond Maryland, Brett coming back from Maryland for another year, but also beyond Maryland down the line. So thank y'all for your time here today. To our listeners out there, thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of the Maryland Made Podcast. Please be sure to download, subscribe, and share our episodes on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts, so you never miss an episode. And make sure you're following Maryland Made on Instagram and Twitter at MD Made Terps, and connect with us on LinkedIn as well. And until next time, we're out.